Hello, I'm Anya Rubin, and I'm user experience designer and a researcher, and I would like to walk you through UX concept of a factory management application that utilizes AI. It has been inspired by a friend of mine who runs a factory and shared how overwhelming it can be to manage factory using text and messaging. Imagine you have hundreds of tasks, hundreds of employees, sometimes tasks get lost, or people make wrong purchase orders. That, of course, is problematic for running a factory. So here I'm exploring a UX idea to have a factory management application that heavily relies on AI to improve task efficiency. Let's take a look. So here on the left, we have a list of contacts that maybe you work with frequently, or it also can be driven by AI that would recommend which employees you should assign tasks to based on their previous performance. So, for example, Amber here, we have 5-star ratings. Currently, she is over capacity at 120%. She has high stress. So, Amber is already too busy, so it's probably not a good idea to assign any more tasks for her. But on the other hand, AI ranked as um, available at 75% and has low stress. So it's a good idea to assign something to Ben. For each contact here, we can see more details. We can see recent activity. We can also see task ratings. We can message, contact, and also assign tasks with assistance of AI that can provide us the most appropriate task for the person. You can also easily navigate to the next task to pick the right person. All right, let's move on to tasks. Here we have a list of tasks. You can filter them using search. For each task, AI determines risk level. So for example, this task has scored 25 out of 100. AI uses different criteria to determine risk. There are a lot of different criteria could be used. For example, deadline proximity, complexity of the task, assignment status, or historical factors. For example, if it's a vendor that always delays delivery, perhaps that should be ranked by AI as high risk. So for this specific task, AI recommends not really to take any action, so continue with standard workflow. For Ben, on the other hand, his task is ranked as high risk because it's ranked as high priority task. And AI recommends some actions. For example, schedule a review with team lead within 24 hours. All right. Here in the list, we can also have conversation related to a task. So you can have a thread. AI can be also used here to maybe compose a message, or we can even utilize agentic AI to have conversation with people. Of course, if we allow AI to do it. All right. Now let's take a look at AI Assistant, which is now available in almost every application. All right. So our AI assistant is named Newton. He is a toucan with PhD in task management and also fruit sorting. Unlike his feathered cousins who just collect shiny things, he also helps organize tasks and boost productivity. So the idea here is instead of having users of the system to go to a certain page, click on a certain button to, let's say, create a purchase order or assign a certain task to a person, you can do it using a chat or using quick commands that AI also determines the most appropriate for you. So for example, Mina in this case, she submitted a few purchase orders. So she can either type a new purchase order request here in the text field, or she can also use quick commands. She decides to use quick commands. So let's say purchase order, and Newton creates purchase order form we can add some details, happy materials, for example, and we can submit the order. Newton noticed that we did not assign purchase order to anyone and makes recommendation based on certain criteria who to assign this task to. For example, maybe can be Astrid because she was really good doing similar purchase order last time. So let's say we assign it to Astrid. Now it has been assigned to Astrid, and the table behind, you can see, has been modified. All right, so that's the idea. So here you observe just a tiny portion what could be possible in AI-driven factory management application. Of course, there are a lot of other future directions we can take. One of them, what I'm thinking, is to have a page that will be an overall health indicator of the system. It can identify, for example, bottlenecks and suggest to take certain actions. Or perhaps we can even have agentic AI that would identify the actions and also pursue those actions. Another thing we could support is allow people to create very flexible workflows. Different factories can have different workflows, and it would be very difficult to create something that just has, set of fixed workflows. It needs to be flexible. So maybe we can allow people to create workflows, even using natural language, where AI can determine, which tasks a certain workflow should contain. That's the idea. A little bit of information about technology I've used here. I've created this application in Visual Studio Code using Copilot, and it was fun and exciting. Of course, there were some frustrating moments when AI couldn't figure out very easy things, but then it was great at figuring out very complicated things. I'm excited on creating more things and sharing. All right, thank you for watching.